When we realize that He is the faithful one, the one that can be trusted, then we can lean on Him. We can rely on Him because we have proof. We know that He is who He says He is. Now you may be thinking, I can't really do that, Reverend Kerrene, because I've had prayers before God and they haven't been answered. I've gotten nowhere with these prayers. Nothing was answered. They just seem to have sat there. And how can I trust someone that not only can I not see him, but he's not really faithful? I mean, you say he is, but he really isn't. And that goes back to that heart of trust. Because when we pray, we must trust that God hears us because He says that He hears. It's not that God has turned a deaf ear to any prayer that His people pray. That's not it at all. But have you ever noticed how Jesus would talk to the Pharisees? Or the Pharisees would ask Jesus questions, and then He would give them an answer. You'd say, where did that come from? That wasn't what they asked. He didn't answer the question that they asked of Him. Where did He get that? And the simple reason for that is because Jesus didn't waste time with the fluff. He knew what was in the heart. And because He knew what was in the heart, He just eliminated the external factors and what they were putting out and went straight to the heart of the matter. And that's what God does with our prayers. He eliminates all the fluff, all the things that we think are important and the things that we're getting out of our mouth. And He says, wait a minute, that's not really what your heart is asking. That's not really where you are. You're someplace entirely different. So that's what I'm listening to, and that's what I'm answering. You may think that you're asking Him for one thing when your heart is longing for something entirely different, something that's deeper, something that's richer. And God eliminates the fluff and He goes right to the heart of the matter. So it's not that He is unfaithful or He hasn't heard your prayer or the answer isn't what you expected it to be, but rather it's Him eliminating the fluff and saying, that's not really what you need. I'm going to answer your prayer, but I'm answering the prayer with what you really need, what your heart is really longing for, and what you're really crying out for. You don't understand that, but God does. And because, again, God understands it, He is reliable. And we can lean on Him. So it doesn't really matter how the winds of life shift and how they change and how they seem at times to overwhelm us or cause us to have doubts. Here is God saying, you know what? In spite of all of this, in spite of the obstacles and the things that you've gone through that you didn't enjoy going through, things that caused you grief, and yes, those things that even caused you joy, in spite of all those things, trust me. Well, Lord, why should I trust you? You didn't give me what I want. I gave you exactly what you wanted. I gave you exactly what you wanted because I eliminated all the junk and I went straight to the heart of the matter. So God is faithful. He answers our prayers. But there are times when our prayers are full of such stuff and so clouded and so staticky until we're asking for something and God says, that's not really what you need. That's not really what you want to ask. That's not really what you're asking, because I'm listening to your heart, and your heart is telling me exactly what needs to be said, what needs to be done. So He is answering our prayers, and it just isn't the way that we thought. It's one of those things where the Pharisees, well, where did that come from? We didn't ask that. Yes, you did. But you asked it from in here, from inside of your heart. And that's what God looks for. And that's what he listens to. And that's what he responds to. Because it is the heart that always will speak the truth. No matter what comes out of our mouth, the heart will not lie. It will tell the truth. And God says, I'm not listening to any of the junk. I'm just going right to the heart of the matter. Spirit to spirit, I'm going to answer that prayer. I am going to hear. I am going to be faithful. So beloved, I don't want you to ever think that God isn't always faithful, or he doesn't always respond to your prayers. It is simply that there are times that you're praying things that are filled with fluff, and God is answering the substance, going directly for the heart, getting to the substance of the prayer, whether you realize what that substance is or not. So when the writer says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, he's saying this not just because it sounds good, but because God is reliable, because you can lean on him, because he is faithful, because he will not forsake you. He will not let go of a promise. Whatever his word has proclaimed, you can count on that. That's money in the bank. You can count that is definitely going to happen. It is definitely going to transpire, no matter how long it takes. God is faithful in that. So you can trust when he says, I'm going to do this, he's going to do that. You can trust that when he says, I am faithful, that he is going to be faithful. When he says that when my people call to me, I will hear them, then you can trust and have faith that he is going to hear you. The problem is, the enemy wants you to believe that God's not listening, that you can't trust him, that he's not reliable, that he twists things around so that he's just making himself look better. But beloved, God doesn't do that. He's not a man that he should lie. He is a man that is faithful. He is one who has never forsaken his word. How do we know this for sure? Well, when he created the heavens and earth, this is just a small example. When he created the heavens and the earth, and he hung the stars and the moon and the sun in their places, all he said was, go there. He just put them there and said, that is good. And they haven't changed. From the beginning of time, they haven't changed. Because what God is always faithful. What God does is always the right thing. What God responds to and what he is moved by is our trust in him. The trust that says, I see absolutely nothing. I don't understand why it has to be this way. I don't even agree with it being this way, but I trust you. And when we can take our intellect, our emotions, our spiritual walk, and place them back into the hands of the living God, then what we're saying to him is that, Lord, I trust you. I can't be trusted. I know I can't be trusted, but I do trust you. So you take this, and I'm going to put it in your hand, and whatever comes up in life, whatever I encounter, whatever difficulties I have, I know that I can lean on you. And as I said, we can't say that about anyone else because people are fickle and people go on what happens to be in at the moment. Whereas God is steadfast, unmovable, unchanging, always faithful, always holy, always righteous, always requiring the exact same thing. He hasn't changed from the beginning of time. His requirements haven't changed from the beginning of time.